The way school is today is not made to build you up into salvation. It's made to tame you so that you're ready to become a worker. I heard people say, you please God when you have the best grades. But with that, they're skipping their sleep. They're not eating well. They're not talking to anybody. They don't have time in the morning for their Bible because they're so focused on being the best. In high school and elementary school, I was always a straight A student. But high school is a different thing than college, right? College, you have like 10 professors. They all want an extraordinary thing that is so hard. And so I got to the point of almost wanting to take my life, and I was very depressed. I was desperate because I just realized that it's impossible to please that system. I got down on my knees and I just started crying. And I prayed, I'm so tired. I don't know what to do with my life. I don't feel you anymore. I don't know if you're here.
Hey, Tony here, Amazing Facts Youth. You're going to listen to a recording about 20 minutes of a young lady from AFCO who came from Brazil, and the Lord taught her how to speak English. She didn't go to any schooling, didn't to any test or anything. She all learned on her own, but she shared her story on her almost committing suicide. So you got to listen to this because God, I was so blown away by this. I was in tears listening to her story around a campfire here in Lake Tahoe. And I just impromptu just grabbed my phone and turned on the record and said, okay, let's talk. And she started sharing. So for the next 20 minutes, you're going to hear some things, whether you're a guy or a girl, if you're struggling, if you're dealing with issues and depression at school, you got to listen to this. God bless you. Look forward to hearing from you. If you need prayer, let us know. Hit us up, DM us, and we'd love to pray for you. Take care.
The way school is today is not made to build you up into salvation, right? It's made to tame you in a certain format so that you're ready to become a worker. So there's a lot of study that we can go down that road, but it's school established the way it is today to create workforce, right? What that means is that the schooling process has a different objective than we have as Christians. So to me, what I learned to realize is that you gotta have a priority that sometimes will mean that you go bad in some of those schooling things. So sometimes you'll have to negotiate in a way that you're not gonna be an A student in this class. You're gonna be a B or a C student in this class. Like you're gonna negotiate because you cannot let go of the fact that you gotta do your best to have your sleep. You got to do your best to continue to eat healthy. And you must have friends. And what school does is that you don't have time for good friends. You do have time to go out partying and drinking, right? But you don't have time to sit down with friends and open up. Like, that's not encouraged. It's not a space that we see as students. So when I talk to people that went through similar things, the first thing that I tell them, okay, let's go out and eat together. Like, let's go. Like, we're going to spend time right now. Oh, I have so many things to do. You always have so many things to do, but this is also important. So breaking that mindset that your whole life has to be around school, that's so important because that's not true. God doesn't want us to see being like successful in the world and then failing our spiritual life, right? So you're going to learn to prioritize in that way. And it's really counterintuitive if you're in school because all you want to do is be a good student. And I've heard people say, and they say this with the best intentions, but I heard people say, you have to be the best at everything, or, you please God when you have, the best grades. But with that comes the fact that many of these people they're skipping their sleep. They're not eating well. They're not talking to anybody. They don't have time in the morning for their Bible because they're so focused on being the best. But being the best in the kingdom of God should never equal, letting go
all of that
of the kingdom of God. So the first thing that I like to do is like help people to have a good routine, even if that means that you're not going to have the same performance that you had before. And that's tough. But even, when Johnny Wong was here, like, Pastor Johnny Wong, he's giving classes, and he was talking about what they do for the campus groups. And one of the things that he said, we get together to eat, and then we read the Bible, and it doesn't take too long, and people can share and open up and pray. And he told the story of this young man that his group was always multiplying. They had so many people coming out of this group and being baptized and things. And just, one of the ladies from his group gave a testimony that she was, so lonely, and then now she had friends. And he's like, what does this guy do? And he went to the group one time. Did you see that story?
Nope.
No? So he went to the group that the guy was leading because he didn't think the guy was actually that good of a speaker. And he's like, okay, he's got to be doing something really extraordinary here. And the guy got there, stood in front of everybody and said, so I want to ask for prayers. This is the leader of the group. He's an Adventist. I want to ask for prayers because every now and then I smoke. He said that in front of the group. And then Pastor Johnny Wong was like, what is he doing right now? Like, this is insane. And then he was like, okay, Lord, help me to understand what you're doing through your servant. And then because he said that, a bunch of the students were there. They said, well, I'm so tired that sometimes I do this or that.
Right.
I am so lonely that sometimes I watch this or that. I am so depressed that I rely on this for my, so they started opening up. That doesn't happen if you don't have the time for friends. So that's gotta be a priority. Is that making sense?
Absolutely.
Because I've talked about this with other people and they're like, no, you gotta be really good in school and you gotta push through the 4 years or 5 years or whatever you're doing, and then you can have peace. And to me, every day is valuable to God, and we shouldn't, I don't agree with that mentality. And I think it costs lives if you push people that way. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So to me, when I finally finished school, there were some classes that I didn't have the highest grade. But I prayed and I said, Lord, I really need to sleep, a good night of sleep tonight. That's a cool song. And the teacher just gave me too much work. It's not possible. Or, God, I need help to do this. And I never failed a class. I was sometimes not the best student that I could be in terms of grades, but I never failed a class, and I believe that's a blessing from God. And yeah, I got through university without...
Because of what you went through,
Yeah.
what did you go through? What was pulling you?
Well, the experience of... Do you mean like the moment where things changed? Is that where you want to...
Yeah, so you're going to school, but then
Yeah.
you're running hard, you're doing all this. When did you say,
So
hey,
I was trying to...
maybe
I was trying to be the best student. And in high school and elementary school, I was always a straight A student.
Mm-hmm.
But high school is a different thing than college, right? College, you have 10 professors. They all want an extraordinary thing that is so hard. And so I got to the point of almost wanting to take my life. And I was very depressed. I was desperate because I just realized that it's impossible to please that system. It's a system that is negotiating things that I don't have to give. And there's a lot of pressure from all around to be a great student. And here's the thing about when you grow up being smart, people expect you to continue to be in that level or even, go higher.
God.
And
they never were, but when you drop a notch, they're like, what's wrong
what's
with
going?
you?
Yeah. What is the problem? You need to do this and that. And yeah, so I had a very specific day because I was in the public school, right? And I changed to a Christian school. So when I was in the public school, I had a day where I couldn't sleep. I've been having nightmares, and I could see that, there were demons surrounding me. That's the truth.
And you said earlier there was something else going on at the school at the same time. Say that again.
The school, the context of the school had a lot of suicides and ideologies and things that denied God. So the context of the school is also very spiritual. And I didn't have a lot of spiritual support because I didn't have time for godly friends. I didn't have time for anything other than studying, right?
Okay.
So I had people that I could go to, but I just didn't have time. And even Sabbath was the day to go to church and then sleep because I was just so tired.
Exhausted.
I was exhausted. So I had a very specific night where I had been having nightmares for so long, and I would wake up in the middle of the night terrified, and I would have the feeling there was somebody in my room, that kind of thing. And then this one night, I couldn't fall asleep because I was scared of the nightmares and that feeling of, I don't know if you ever had to deal with this. You're in the dark and you feel like there's somebody right there. Mm-hmm. And then you finally, you feel kind of paralyzed. And when you turn on the lights, there's nothing. I had that sometimes. Very spiritual. So that night I didn't want to sleep because I didn't want to go through that again. But I had classes in the morning and I was so tired. I was just... okay, I don't want to sleep, but I'm so tired, fighting against it didn't make sense because I was fighting against the sleep that I needed. But I think it was around 2 or 3 a.m. I decided to pray, and I hadn't prayed in such a long time. And I've been thinking about, disappearing, dying. So I got down on my knees and I just started crying. And I cried first for a while without saying anything, without even asking Jesus for anything. I just cried and cried. And I prayed, I'm so tired. I don't know what to do with my life. I don't feel you anymore. I don't know if you're here. Just telling God the truth. Life is not making sense right now. And I just said all those things. You know, one of those prayers where you don't have the pretty words. So I prayed that.
I mean, you had real conversation.
I was actually like,
Yeah. He knew what you were saying. Even in Portuguese, he knew what you were saying.
God is like, speaks multiple languages.
Yes.
So I was just praying and praying and praying and praying. And I was praying like, I want to know where you are. I want to know what's going on. I had been a faithful Christian before that. I had dreams of becoming a missionary before that. And at that point, I couldn't feel anything anymore. So I tell you, and this is so important because I was on my knees and I felt a hand on my shoulder, a real hand like this on my shoulder. And I was just like, I get goosebumps
Just get some.
I felt that hand and it wasn't scary as the other times where I felt like there was someone in my room. Mm-hmm. It was peaceful. And I was just crying out of relief. I was like, okay, so Jesus is here. He didn't, I get emotional just remember. And that day, I even wrote a song. I have to try to find the lyrics. They're in Portuguese, but.
You'll sing the name.
It was a song about growing up with Jesus and then only getting to know him when I walked away from him. Because that's when I was the one sheep.
Yeah.
And he came after me. Yeah, because I knew him and I walked away from him. And
I love the title.
Yeah. So I was just talking about like I grew up with you, but this is the first time that I actually see who you are. And this is crazy because,
so good.
A lot of people who were born in the church, they can relate.
Yeah.
So you have to have a conversion. It doesn't matter if you're born in the church. You got to have that moment.
Yeah.
And to me, it was in my lowest point.
Yeah.
And so I could feel very clearly, you're going to walk away from what you're doing right now. This is not the life I want from you. And you're going to start preparing to become a missionary.
Yeah.
The next morning, my parents had left to work already. I had to get up and go get the bus, take the bus to go to the university, which was a little ways. And I just woke up very, very, texted my mom, I'm not going to school today or anytime soon because I'm not going to go back to that place. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, Mom, I am done with that place. I don't belong there. What people do in that place is not the life that I want to have. We are transformed by whatever we're contemplating, and I've been contemplating death. I didn't tell my parents, the details because I didn't want them to freak out. But I just texted her and went with my day. Had a nice breakfast, a walk in the sunshine, and took a deep breath, And that moment, I started trying to figure out what to do. And I mean, the story has a lot of, turns here and there. But the long story short is that after that, I transferred into a Christian school. I moved states so I could go to a Christian school. And that's the campus where I heard about EFM and Unreached People groups. And I was like, okay, this is the thing, So yeah, God led me to that in several ways. I prayed. I had to raise money, which is not easy in my country. I spent like 6 months to 8 months raising the money. And then I went as a missionary to Southeast Asia, where I had several situations where God was just confirming to me, this is not even the real thing, Camila. This is just a short period of time where you're learning what you're gonna do. And that was crazy because a lot of people, they go for 1 year, they think that they did the stuff and that's it, right? But God was just teaching me that he has like a long-term plan overseas, which is something I've been praying for since I was 9. So while I was there, he taught me, several lessons, and he told me to let go of several things. And that's when I got convicted about, okay, I need to improve the way I eat. I need to let go of movies or, I didn't watch necessarily bad movies, but that was an idol for me. I need to let go of songs that are not talking about Jesus. And, I need to have a focus on, in the word of God and in praying, and those things take up too much space. So he actually took me all the way to the mission field to teach me how to be a missionary. And then I came back, and that's actually where I met my fiance. And since then, it's been quite the journey. So that's why I tell you, like 5 years ago, if you told me I'd be here,
I didn't know.
I didn't even know I was gonna be a missionary. I had no idea I was
But you've
gonna.
been praying about it for 9 years.
I've
Since you were 9.
Since I was 9. So
And
at that
now
point,
you're
it was
gonna-
like 11 years. Because my mom, she has like a best friend who was a missionary in Africa for like 20 years.
Wow.
So whenever she would come back in vacation, she would go visit us and bring a bunch of the African things. And I would look at that. Very little.
Yeah.
I want to do what she does. I want to do what she does. And I mean, of course, when you're young, there's a lot of immature reasoning behind it. Like, I want to travel the world.
It's the faith of a mustard seed you
But-
hold as a little kid.
But, you know, she would pray for me and she would tell me, okay, study another language. I learned English at home, reading books.
No kidding.
I never took a course. God blessed me in that way. And, you know, I used some of the ungodly tools because I watched some cartoons.
Sure.
and
You learn all, yeah?
But I could see, like, after a while, I could see that God was leading. Because who learns a language at home in a country that doesn't
You
speak that
speak very
language, right? So
I could tell you have an accent. But
Uh-huh.
it's not a Portuguese accent that I catch when you talk, right? But you speak English
thank
very
you.
well. Yes,
And
very well.
that's literally just to praise God. Because I did my part of reading books, but
Yeah.
what is that compared to being able to put a software of a language in your brain? That's something only God can do. Like,
Thank you.
yeah,
That's my excuse every time I want to learn another language. I use that one. And it's unplugged every time I go to use it.
Yeah, no. Let's. I don't know about that. I'm kidding.
No,
Yeah,
that's
God-
my excuse, not yours.
No, but God, He's amazing because He did not give up on me. He's so patient to me, and I had my share of troubles. I had moments when I didn't like our church very much. I want to walk away from God, and all of these things come from anger and from, you know. So the testimony can have hours, but I think the bottom line is that God is so kind to me. He works with me where I am all the time. And He's been teaching me to deal with my temperament because I'm so fast paced that sometimes I can get angry at people because they're moving too slow.
That's right.
Or, you know, how come you don't understand this? Because I'm already there. And I'm not trying to sound the smartest, but it's just different people. They have different ways of processing things. Does that make sense? Like, for example, I go fast, but I don't go deep. So people who are deep thinkers, sometimes they'll take their time.
You were nice past it, and they go, come back here, let's talk.
They're like, okay, you didn't notice this day. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did not notice. So
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that being fast paced is the best thing because God has different people for everything.
That's right.
And He works with me in my shortcomings
Yeah.
because I can be judgmental very easily. And He's like, okay, I'm going to put you in a situation where you're judged. How did that feel?
Mm.
You know? And it was hurtful. It happened to me. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should refine the way I talk to people and how I confront them about things. Because, you know, that happened to me. Oh, I will need to speak another language for when I go overseas. God has been teaching me English for 10 years. You know, you're going to need this and this and this ability. So I'm going to put you in this place. You're going to work with these people. And I've been learning that whenever the situation is hard, it's because He's teaching me something. And there's this thing that they say at AFM training that I really like. When the trainer said that, I just cried and cried and cried. He said, God is inviting you today to go reach broken people. So guess what? He's going to use from you, your brokenness. And I was like, yeah. Why is it that the angels can't do the work that we do? Because they're not broken. And we are.
Making me cry.
Does that make sense to you?
So good.
We're broken. And there's no shame in that. I'm not ashamed of the things I went through, as painful as they were at the time, as painful as they can be if I start dwelling in them again. I'm not ashamed of them because they allow me to reach more people. And that's what Paul talks about. You know, I went through so much, but it keeps on allowing me to reach more people. So that's the summary of how God has been leading me in the last few years, and I just know that He has so much more in store, and I'm curious. I'm curious all the time because if you ask me where I'm gonna be in a year, I also don't know.
You find out when you get there.
I'll find out when I get there. I don't know where I'll be in 6 months, to be honest with you.
Find out when I get there.
I'll find out when I get
But
there.
I showed up today.
Yeah, and
I just showed up
I
today.
showed up. Is it easy? No, because you gotta trust God.
That's right.
But if you trust that He's the one who empowers you, He's the one who's going to provide for whatever you need, He's the one who's going to write the story, not you, then it becomes easier to navigate. I have many days when I'm like, Lord, I wish I would know a little bit more about the future, a little bit more.
He said he'd tell us things to come.
Yeah, but I just know that even though I want to know it, I can't bear it. So does that make sense? Yeah. So yeah, I'm grateful for God leads me with so much patience.
Yeah.
Patience.
Hey, this is Tony Scarpino with Amazing Facts Youth. I just finished talking with,
Camila.
in your last name,
Love peace.
Leptis.
Yes.
And she's just shared my story, and we want to say thank you for listening. Can we talk with Amazing Facts Youth?
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. Any last words you want to share?
Well, if anybody would like to talk and contact me, especially young ladies dealing with image, like self-image issues, or thinking about, am I worth being alive? I'd love to talk to you and share how I went through it.
How can they reach you?
So that's a good question. Oh, you can.
Do a Gmail?
Yeah, Gmail is good.
Okay.
So
Your Gmail.
my Gmail is Mila, like Milla,
Okay.
Lopez, which is Lopes
Very good.
2000
2000.
at
At
gmail.com.
Gmail. Say it one more time.
So MILLALOPES 2000 at gmail.com.
Well, there you have it. What a pleasure. I've been in tears listening and in awe, not being able to say much. And you guys know me, I like to talk. And I just love that we got to do this. So God bless you. Send us a prayer request or get in touch with Miss Camila. God bless you. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time or listening to you next time. Bye for now.